Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. We are back today with a review video, a little recap of a race I recently did down in Columbia, Missouri, the Missouri State Criterium Championships 2024 for the Category 4. This was a race that I won about almost 20 years ago, back when I still had some time left on these cheekbones. So, we're back. It used to be in Jefferson City a long time ago. Now they're doing it in Columbia, Missouri, where I went to college, so I got a chance to pedal around prior to this race and relive a lot of my collegiate traumas. So that was fun, but we're back. I hadn't raced in a couple weeks, so this was the first time I had raced in I think about a month. I had just been racing on Zwift in the meantime, which does keep you in pretty good shape, but it is different racing on the road. So we're back here, pretty straightforward, 4-corner crit course. Half of it's uphill, half of it's downhill. It was kind of nice because these turns you could pedal through all of them. A lot of people were not pedaling and braking, but if you played your cards right, you could absolutely pedal through all of these turns. This is lap 1. I'm kind of just getting my bearings, kind of hanging towards the back since I hadn't raced in a little while. So I think it was about 45 starters. I think a number of people were pulled as the race went on. But this is the top half of the course where there's a little downhill right-hander that you can take at pretty good speed. We're going about 29 miles an hour here. And then after you get out of this turn, it is a little bit of a dicey road. There was some metal features. I was kind of staying to the left-hand side of this. You can see some people right up here that start bunny hopping things. Ooh, watch out. There's another one that people were looking out for. So I was kind of hanging out over to the left. It's strung out a little bit on this first lap, but I knew it was going to come back together just because there's a giant headwind on this hill right here. So we're going 25, you're going downhill, but the headwind was kind of stopping you from going fast. And here is the fast turn into the finish line. Notice that guy in front of me braking, which you're not supposed to do. It was, see, I got to ramp it up here, 700 watts, just because people were slowing down a bit. But this is lap 1. Coming up, there's the pit coming up here on the left. We got the teammate in the rear view, just hanging on as well. That's my buddy Lowe coming around at the end of the first lap. Here's the finish line right here. Jumping right into it, we come around on the second into the third lap, and they throw a preem down, so nobody can get comfortable. This is a $60 preem. It was the big preem of the race. I'm not thinking about going for it at all because I just hadn't raced in a while. I didn't know how the body was going to react, so I didn't want to write a check the old calves couldn't cash. So I'm kind of just sitting in, no plans, and then we get on the downhill, and I'm like, well, maybe I can. I'm like, nobody's really going for it right here. I'm sitting at 166, so I'm like, maybe I should if nobody's going for it. I didn't see anybody off the front at this point, so I take the turn, and then I say, why not? Let's give it a little bit of a go, see how the legs are doing. So I ramp it up. I'm like, I only got to beat this Caldy's guys over here who's ramping it up. I've raced against him a couple times. We're coming up, he's coming around. I figured I got him beat. No big deal. At no point did I see that guy right up there in front of me. It's very easy to see when you're looking back, but I had just had tunnel vision. I thought I won it right there, and then I literally hear them read off somebody else's name. If there's anybody that, if you could win an award for most preems, won like the female preem, or most times not knowing if I had won the preem, I would win that award absolutely every single race. But we're coming around 6 laps in. Has not been a fast race, was not a fast race. Here's a child next to me, so I had to make sure that I was in front of the youth. Getting beat by a 13-year-old would not be good for my ego at this point in my life. So we're kind of cruising through pretty much a packed dynamic race. Everybody was staying together because there just was not a lot of places to go. I mean, after the preem, we could have gone for a break, but I was too tired, so I had sat up. But we're 7 laps in, it's all staying together. I'm kind of just sitting in. There was a little bobble right there where that blue guy kind of almost cut that dude off, which happens in crit racing. Oh, Low right there. If you see him almost destroy that curb, I mean, he was as close as you could possibly be without hitting that curb. So that turn was kind of freaking a couple people out, and that was absolutely happening in this race as well. So Here we are coming around on lap 10, 2 to go. Kind of just lining it up, getting ready for the last couple laps. I'm sitting pretty good. I don't want to go too much closer to the front. I'm about six wheel, I think, here, which is perfect for where I want to be. Heart rate's at about 176, so we're kind of cruising. It always was slowing up a little bit on this uphill section, so we just had to make sure, because you could be in good position and then it would slow up and then it would bunch up a ton up here. So got the teammate behind me, teammate in front of me. We got a little train going right here, but then it kind of bunches up, unfortunately. If it had kept going fast, our little train could have kept going, but I have to keep moving up because this is the 11th lap, and there's only a couple more laps left, so you got to stay closer to the front, which I was doing. Start getting swarmed, but I make sure that I keep the wattage up a little bit just to stay close to the front. This is just 1 to go. Coming up on 1 to go, you just have to stay close to the front here. So that Caldy's kid, he's pretty fast, so I just kind of stay on his wheel for a bit. I know if I'm on his wheel, then I'm going to be okay. So we're coming around the top section of the course where it is fast. I'm still sitting at about 175 beats. Feeling pretty good. I'm kind of just sitting in thinking this is not too bad. I'm actually shocked that I'm here right now. So I thought I'd be a little bit closer to the back, but it hasn't been a fast race, so I'm kind of enjoying it. Cyclist guy goes. I thought about covering it, but I don't really want to cover something with 1 to go. There's 2 guys off the front. There's that child that's up there. I don't think that that's going to make it because this downhill section, it's just such a strong headwind that I was just hoping it would come back together. And I figured if it didn't, then maybe I could jump and drag my teammate across in the last lap. But I look up, it seems they're coming back together. So I'm feeling fine. Kind of cruising in. That kid in front of me, I think he had like gravel tires on. You see how big those tires are? I don't know if that's what he normally races, but those were some honkers on that thing. So we're coming into 1 to go. I just want to make sure that I have that outside line so I'm not going to get caught up. Take it at speed. Don't have to brake, which is good. A little bit of a gap. This kid next to me was super strong the entire race. I had to go up to 800 here, but I figured I'd just sit in behind him and make him do a little bit of the work. I didn't know it at the time, but I had that Maplewood guy behind me who's another strong racer. But we're coming up here with 1 to go. I'm sitting like third or I guess fourth wheel, which is exactly where I want to be on a race like this. 1 to go. Coming around, I'm feeling pretty good. Not even at 180 beats. There we go, 180. Taking the right-hander. I'm just thinking about just saving it, sitting on this kid's wheel as long as possible. Hoping that it doesn't bunch up here, but there, the child, he's done. Every time, I think that kid had also just raced our juniors race before this, so I don't want to talk smack. That kid was actually pretty darn good and probably could have beat me, but that would have emotionally shattered me. So here we go. It is slowing up a little bit, so I have to keep surging towards the front. I'm not using a ton of watts here, so I figure just roll it on through anyway. A couple guys right behind me. It does start slowing up. I told them to keep it up there. I wanted them to keep the pace up just because it was slowing up and I didn't want to get swarmed. But I knew at this point that I was only going like a couple hundred watts here, and if I'm going to roll to the front, then I might as well just take it on the front because I don't want to get swarmed by a bunch of people, which I thought was going to happen because it was going so slow. So if you look in the rear view, we got the Caldy's kid coming up in the back along with my teammate. I was just waiting. I'm not going to ramp it up there. If people are going to come around me, I still need a couple wheels. I couldn't take it from there. So I see the teammate. I take it a little wide to get my teammate's wheel and push anybody else off. So I got his wheel. We're going on the second to last turn. We're coming up on the last turn. I'm feeling good right here. It starts to slow up a little bit, and I thought that we were going to get swarmed here, so I just jumped it. I jumped to the front right here. I figured if I could cook it and get into that last turn first, then I would have a chance at a sprint. So I ramp it up 850 watts into that downhill turn, taking the right-hander 33 miles an hour. I get a gap. My teammate's right behind me, and that's when I ramp it up. I do about 1,000 watts for 5 or 6 seconds here, just try to get the best sprint in as possible. I did not look back the entire time. I figured I might have a little bit of a gap, but I just put my head down, still at about 700 watts. The guy behind me is coming. I didn't realize how close he got, but got it right at the line. Very excited. Missouri State Championship, I lose my mind, a lot of emotions. That was the first race I won all year, and the only race that I did really want to win all year. Super excited to make this thing happen. I hadn't won one for 20 years, so it felt great to come back out, take one for the team. I think this is the first team state championship we've had in a while, so couldn't have been more excited. Still kind of riding that wave, and it's about a week later, so very, very pumped. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to be back soon with more race recap videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you got any comments, comment down below or reach out directly. Again, thanks so much for watching, and we're going to be back soon.